What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of The Breakdown featuring Trailblazers swingman Derrick Jones Jr. I got a chance to sit down with Derrick and talk to him about a lot of different things, but on this episode, we're going to focus on his ability as a versatile defender, covering up and down the lineup, getting out in passing lanes, getting transition opportunities, and just making things happen for the Portland Trailblazers. Let's get to it.
Went hard back door, was able to get set on the move by Ben.
Yeah, I'm shining bright, got me feeling like I'm next up. Feeling like I'm Curry, how I'm ballin' on the West Wall. If you told me back then, I never would've guessed so. Now the way I'm winning, I ain't have to cut it head, ayy. I said I've been slaving, dog, let me see the money, ayy. Now I'm popping, ooh, they looking at me funny, ayy. I was in the rain, waiting for these sunny days. Made it through, you can tell me I don't love this, ayy. I'm away to that show, told them pipe down, I don't need no hoes. I've been out with my bros, even back then I knew I'd grow. Now I'm knocking down these doors, they ain't keeping up when I switch these flows. They don't want no smoke, can't get hot, I can play so low.
That's right, we're on episode 2 of The Breakdown, and this week we're focusing on Derrick Jones Jr. I had a chance to sit down with Derrick, record the Blazers Edge podcast, which if you haven't already checked it out, I'll have it in the link in the description. Click it, download, listen, stream, whatever it is you want to do. Just make sure you check it out. Derrick's going to be a guy that you really enjoy going forward. But I did get to talk to him about a lot of different things. But here we're going to specialize or specify on his defensive game. His ability to cover up and down the lineup, who he really likes to guard, who he wants to get after, which I think is kind of an interesting way to start things out. So let's take a look at that and see who it is exactly that Derrick Jones Jr. loves to go after defensive. Who do you love the challenge of guarding? Basically, I'm asking for you for names, Derrick. Who do you love going up against? And not to gas anybody up or to slander them, but like who are the guys that you like? This is my challenge. This is a guy, he got me last time, or we've had some good head-to-heads, or a guy you want to take on in those one-on-one situations like you're talking about when you want to be that guy that gives that 110%.
Shit. Before I got here, it was Dame and CJ. To me, those two is arguably two of the hardest people to guard in this league. You get up too close on Dame, he's athletic enough to get by you and finish at the rim. You sag back, he gonna shoot it right over your head. If you try to play too close on CJ, he gonna get in his bag and start doing what he want to do to you. So it's like those are the two people. I mean, I've like every time we played Portland, it was like I'm focusing on this one. Like I need to make sure that they don't do nothing. Like if they don't do nothing, I did my job. But you know, it's basketball. You know, sometimes they're gonna get the best of you. It is what it is. But you know, that's two people that I wanted to play every single day.
I'm not exactly saying something out of line by saying the Trailblazers haven't had a player like Derrick Jones Jr. in the last couple of years. They haven't had a player like Derrick Jones Jr. in probably 20 years, maybe longer. Just his athletic profile alone is something that has already made Coach Stotts stand up and say, I don't think I've ever had a guy like this. I've never coached somebody like this. Now, take that athletic profile and put some defensive prowess and some willingness. Remember, he's a G League grinder. So he knows what he's got to do to stay in this league, and he knows that his money is made as a defender. Everything else becomes as a bonus, which he has shown he's working on and developing even further on the offensive end. But defensively, his versatility, his length, his 7-foot wingspan, his obscene bunnies, everything that he does, that's what makes him special and unique. And it's something that Portland has missed drastically, both on the defensive end, where they just haven't had a wing to cover a whole lot of guys, and on the other end, offensively, they haven't had anybody who generates steals, gets deflections, gets out in transition, and is this good of a finisher. I got to talk to Derrick a little bit about what his versatility means and how he's able to apply it and up and down the lineup, how effective he can be on the defensive end of the floor. This is where I really wanted to show what your length, your athleticism, your versatility, your doggedness, really, I think that's the term that I would use to describe both you and that Miami team. One of the few teams that decided you were going to extend your defense on Dame and really pressure him as soon as he crossed half court. And if we roll this forward, you guys right here, I believe it's none. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. You guys hard trap immediately off the 1-4 with Damian Melo. And you string him out almost a half court. And it puts your defense in rotation. Melo's the guy here. this is after the possessions when you had just banged on basically the entire team. So I know you were feeling yourself a little bit, but you get back. I'm going to run this back a little bit for everybody else to see this. You get back from damn near 45, and you are hauling to get back to Kent to get in between that passing lane and deny that. Myers is coming down, and I think that's Tyler on the backside making sure there's no action there. But it's a simple play that results in a contested mid-range jumper. But every bit of that came off the fact that you were willing to extend and push and take Damian Lillard away from the bread and butter play. Like when you're going through your scouting report, when you're looking at a play like that, ultimately, what do you think your skill set, what do you think your mindset, your determination, how does that all impact on a night-to-night basis when you are able to do those kind of things and hopefully, translate them here to Portland this year?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I just, like I said, every game, every second that I'm on the floor, I'm trying to make sure that my man don't score and my team is scoring than the opponent. So if I make sure that as soon as he come off that screen, I'm blitzing and he's retreat dribbling, trying to get back and then make a pass out of that, then I did my job. I made sure that he got the ball out of his hands. If I get the ball out of his hands, I'm not letting him get it back.
The versatility that you have here, you get caught here in the short roll, and instead of recovering back out to Seth, Tyler tags, gets back out to Seth Curry, and you're rolling with 7'3" KP. And you get up here and break up the play. Now, I know KP doesn't have your bunnies, but how on earth are you able to get here and get back and intercept this on a short roll? Like, that can't be easy, man.
See, my job is, if I'm guarding the pick and roll, like I'm on the ball, my job is to make sure he gets over that screen. Don't let him reject. Don't let him do none of the little tricks he want to do. But if I'm the big and I'm zoning the screen, my job is to make the guard pick up the ball. As soon as he pick up the ball, there's nothing else he could do. My teammate's coming right back into the play. He try to shoot a jump shot, that's a contest. He try to lay it up, I'm right there. You try to pass it off, I'm still right there. So it's like, you got to pick your poison on what you want to do.
I don't think Dame gets enough credit for his athleticism, for his ability to take guys off the bounce. He's not like Ja or Russ or CP3 in his prime, where it's that one-step burst that you're like, dear God, how am I going to keep up with him? But he has that left to right split and his right to left through the leg, and he's able to accelerate probably faster than just about anybody in the league. And that's the one thing that I think that sets Dame apart. Am I wrong in that perception?
Not at all. So he beat me. You see the play, bro. He beat me. I just
recovered.
I'm just athletic enough to get back.
Mm-hmm. You already know where I'm going with this play. You got there, and you actually did this to Dame twice in this game. You got him. He got you here with that left to right, where he gets that shoulder in front. But because of your athleticism, because of your length, you're able to track and get that hand in there. So there's a cool little anecdote that I got from Derrick when talking to him about just the kind of little things defensively. As I sat there and watched a lot of tape of Jones Jr., of Robert Covington, beyond the fact that they're bigger, longer, stronger, more athletic, the guys that I've really been, desperate for the last couple years, they're really active. It's not a secret. Covington has been the leader or in the top 5 in deflections year after year. If you look at a per minute basis, Jones Jr., as a younger guy who's a little bit less experienced, he's on the same kind of trajectory. They read passing lanes very well. They have just ridiculously long wingspans. Derrick at 7 foot. I believe Covington's at 7'2". So you look at what they can do, and I got Derrick to just kind of talk about something a little bit specific as it pertains to knocking the ball down. And if you watch Derrick Jones Jr. this season, not just the getting in the passing lane stuff, because I think that's a little bit more, a little easier to see. But when you look at what he does when he tries to recover on those chase down blocks off pick and rolls where he's able to get that rear contest or the rear knock away, but when he recovers and gets back and able to get that swipe down, and who he learned it from and how he's kind of taken that and made that a regular part of his game. And something I've noticed between both you and Rocco is that both you guys are really, really, really active with your hands, and not in the traditional wave your hands sense, just to look active. You're smart active with your hands and reading passing lanes, reading eyes, kind of that free safety. But on drives, you've both got that knack to get that straight knockdown, to get that ball jarred loose without drawing that foul. Is that something that you actively work on? Is that just something that just feels normal to you? How does that kind of thing progress for you?
I mean, for me, it's kind of normal now because I've been doing it since I was in Phoenix. Because I mean, the vets that I had, I had savvy vets. They wasn't like athletic like me. It was like my vet was PJ Tucker, Jared Dudley. It ain't like they was like getting above the rim every single play. So when I'm going against them, my first couple weeks there, I'm trying to drive the ball and go for a layup, and all of a sudden, Dud smacking the ball out my hand, PJ smacking the ball out my hand, and it's like like you want to call foul, but it's like that's not a foul. So it's like at the same time, I'm taking notes. Like little do they know I'm taking notes. So as soon as you try to do that to me, I'm taking the ball from you.
There's a lot to like about the Derrick Jones Jr. signing. There's no doubt about that. I questioned some of the initial merits, but the more I looked at it, the more he does offer more things that Portland needs than questions he brings to the table. In the past, particularly last year, you could look back and go, I mean, I know he brings this, but there's a lot of shortcomings elsewhere. The one thing that everybody's going to point out is that Derrick lacks a little bit on the three-point shooting, but I think he's going to be sufficient enough that it'll be there. And more importantly, his rim rolling gravity is going to be arguably the best, not arguably, the best the Blazers have had in the Damian Lillard era. But his defensive versatility is what's really going to matter. How many nights have Portland had guys where athletically they just couldn't compete? If you've listened to the podcast at any point in time over the last probably 4 or 5 years, I've lamented over and over again that the Blazers, while have been a good team, they have been one of the least athletic. And I know that sounds strange on an NBA level, but it matters. They have not had explosive top-tier level athletes that were defensive-minded players. Now, that's not to say that a young guy like Anthony Simons or Nasir Little, that those guys aren't explosive, or that Damian Lillard isn't explosive, but they haven't had a combination of a defensive-minded guy who has that explosion, who also has the size and the versatility to cover up and down the lineup. And in Derrick Jones Jr. and Robert Covington, they've got two of those guys now. And I think this is going to be the better, more advanced, smarter, more applicable version of what the Blazers got from Maurice Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu. But with Derrick Jones Jr., they have a guy that they can put on. This is going to sound crazy, but you can switch him up and down from any of the point guards in the league, and you're not terrified if he gets stuck on an Anthony Davis lengthwise. Now, AD in the post is a nightmare for anybody, but it's just one of those things where the Blazers just haven't had somebody athletically who could compete with the best of the best. And that versatility, that is what makes Derrick Jones Jr. special. And that's the thing that I'm going to be watching mostly this season, beyond the fact that he's going to dunk teams into another dimension. Thanks for checking out this episode. Appreciate you. We'll have more coming up soon. We're going to dive into Robert Covington. And also stay tuned to the channel. We're going to have a lot more content. Maybe not daily, but we're going to take some looks at things to watch for with a short and compact season. We want to make sure we kind of keep our eyes forward, but also look backwards. Thank you to the guys in the comments who kind of suggested this idea, and it's something I'm going to keep going all season long. So even though we're going to look out for certain things, each episode we're going to look back as well and make sure that we're kind of seeing the who, what, when, where, why of the predictions and thoughts and analysis that we had then maybe has changed. But again, thanks, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah, I'm shining bright.